Hello, welcome all, one and all, to the channel today. Welcome back to Swigs Talks Football. And today we are on game week 21 of the Premier League season so far. And just before we get into the predictions show, just again, thank you all for the support and thanks for all the interaction. Looking at the prediction, different shows I've done over the last couple of weeks. It's been really positive from my end. So thank you so much for all looking back on them and for the engagement that comes with it. That being said, now without further ado, if you like the video, please hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down below. That would be really appreciative as well. Let me know down below in the comments any of your predictions, who you think is going to win. Are there any? Is there going to be any upheavals of results, any underdogs overthrowing the big six in this week's game week? Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, West Ham host Nottingham Forest. Forest come off the back of a defeat to Villa, which I actually got the score right, funnily enough, for one of the few times that I do, which was 3-1 to Villa. And they go away to West Ham United. Now, West Ham battling for their lives at the moment down at the bottom of the table. Will be interesting to see how they go up against Nottingham Forest. This, I think, is a six-pointer, I would say. That both teams need to win this in order to maybe Forest need to get that 3 points in order to be a little bit more clear of getting dragged into the relegation zone further. Whereas West Ham really need to get out of the zone, out of the relegation zone if at all possible soon. And maybe this is the game week they kick on from it. So with this game, I think that there will be a good lot of goals. I do. I think there'll be both teams have attacking threats going forward, and they can leak goals in as well going back. However, that being said, I think that Forest are just that bit more solid in the defense, which is why I'm going to go for West Ham 2, Nottingham Forest 3. That's my result for that. Then we go move down from London down south to Bournemouth, and they host Spurs. Now, Bournemouth and Spurs, both teams are really struggling for form as of late. Bournemouth can't seem to buy a win to save their lives, and Spurs just are boring to watch and just aren't great at the moment at all. Don't create anything, don't make any threats on the attack. They just seem to be happy to set up shop, set out for a draw. If we nick a win, we nick a win from a set piece. Other than that, that's it. That being said, I think that Bournemouth and Spurs, it'll be a tough game between the two. Both sides struggling for form, as I've said. Both sides needing the 3 points. So it has the makings of an entertaining game. However, I think maybe it's my Spurs cap on me, but I think Spurs are going to just nick it, and I'm going to go with the Bournemouth 1, Spurs 2. Could be wrong though. Could be wrong, very much so. Bournemouth could easily wipe the floor with Spurs 4-1, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm gonna go for Bournemouth 1, Spurs 2. So fingers crossed it has Spurs bring home the 3 points. Next we have Brentford versus Sunderland. So again, Sunderland put in a great performance against Man City a couple of weeks ago, and and they look to be really, cementing themselves in at least a top 10 finish for the end of the season, I would say. And if they can maybe add any one or two signings in January, then who knows? Who knows? Maybe they could push through. Though. I doubt it, but I'd say the minimum that I would be seeing Sunderland finish would be 10th. Brentford have looked okay this season, had some really good results, had some really bad results. Seem to be doing somewhat okay. They played very well against Spurs a couple of weeks ago, I have to say. And they'll be looking to kick on now against Sunderland. However, with that, I do think it's going to be a really even game. I do think going forward, both sides seem to be good in attack and good in defence. So it has the makings of, I think, of being a really good game. But for that reason, I'm going to go a Desmond 2 off a draw. Next up, we've Palace against Villa. Palace and Villa, two very different teams. One is struggling in Europe and is really trying to, I suppose, get their league campaign consistent. Villa, on the other hand, have been absolutely sensational in the league, so they will hopefully continue their run. They beat Forest last week, so that'll be interesting to see how they kick on now. Can they start another 10 games of winning under Emery will remain to be seen, but I do think Villa will have too much for Palace to handle, and I'm going to go to Palace nil, Villa 3. I'm going for there. Next, we have Everton and Wolves, both sides needing again 3 points. Wolves in desperate need of 3 points in order to kick off their road to survival, or Survivor Series, if you like, of getting back and staying within the division. But it's a long road and it's a big mountain to try and climb. So I do think Wolves are down, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to go down without a fight. So what from that point of view, I do see them scoring. However, Everton at home seem to be really strong this year. I think that Moyes will have them set up really well, really kind of defensively sound, and that they'll hit them on his Wolves maybe on the counter, in one or two key areas, I would say. And for that reason alone, I do think Everton they have too much firepower up top. I think ahead of Wolves, so that's why I'm going to go Everton 2-1 against Wolves. Next up, then we have Fulham and Chelsea, a London derby. As of this recording, Chelsea's manager remains to be seen, but Rosenior seems to be the leading candidate, so it'll be interesting to see if he is the main man in the dugout for the game against Fulham at Craven Cottage. Will be interesting to see. I am expecting it to be a good game in terms of goals. Funnily enough, I do think Fulham will put up a good performance against Chelsea, and for that reason alone, I think they'll put up a good performance. I think Chelsea will be just probably adjusting to whatever manager they have in, and for that reason, I'm going to go to draw to a 2-all draw. Or I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea won a 3-0 either. You know, they seem to have been a team that is just going up and down all season, so I wouldn't be surprised for that at all. But I'm going to go with a 2-all draw for that. Next up, we have Manchester City against Brighton. Now, City have looked really well this season, looked very sharp. Haaland looks in terrific form. Same with Doku, as well as Rodri returning. Maybe he could start this game against Brighton. Might be too early to say just yet, as he came on for against Sunderland a couple of weeks ago, just to get back in that full fitness. But they host the Seagulls in Brighton. Now, Brighton have been up and down and kind of again they haven't done anything great really this season. Welbeck has been had hit a really good purple patch earlier in the season and maybe even before Christmas. So, but he seemed to have kind of slowed down a little bit more so now. But that being said, I do think Brighton will score. I do think they will, but I don't think they'll outmatch Man City. I think City will win this comfortably 4-1. It's 4-1 to them. Next up, then we have Burnley versus Manchester United. But now both sides, we would think on paper, Manchester United should wipe the floor with Burnley. However, as we saw against Wolves, United seem to really struggle against the teams down in the bottom of the table, fighting for their lives. Burnley, on the other hand, seem to be putting in some good performances, but the majority have been lackluster. They put in a really good 10 or 15 minutes against Newcastle a couple of weeks ago, but again, they lost that also. Roja is back in the starting lineup, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. Will he kick on? Will he get the goals that are needed to keep Burnley up in the division? Maybe. And I think that maybe this is the game that he will kick on with that. I can see that United will concede. It might be a bit of a rogue shout, but I don't think people would be surprised. But I am going to go for a Burnley 2-1 victory over Manchester United. I know. Call me crazy. Call me what are you thinking? On theory, they should win Man United, but I don't think so. I think Burnley will nick 3 points here. Next up, then we have Newcastle and Leeds. Both sides are doing well enough this season. Eddie Howe's Newcastle have been coming under a little bit of scrutiny as of late, over the last couple of weeks. Whereas the opposite can really be said for Leeds, as they've been putting in great performances, or maybe great is an understatement, maybe overstatement, good performances against especially the bigger teams in the division. You know, they drew to Liverpool, they beat, or they were unlucky against Spurs earlier in the season, but and it'll remain to be seen how they would have got on by against United. If you can hear that barking in the background, that's my dog also, so apologies for that. It's his time. It's his time for his walk, so he's just reminding me of that. But anyways, Newcastle host Leeds. I think it'll be a good game. The game will have lots of goals, and I'm predicting 2-all. So I'm hoping for Voltemada and Dominic Calvert-Lewin brace just for fantasy football reasons, if nothing else. Be interesting to see how they get on there. And then the last game of the week, ending us off, we have Arsenal versus Liverpool. Two teams who this time last year were probably in the opposite positions. You had Liverpool, who were really going for the title. You had Arsenal then trying to push but not doing it as good. And then flip side to this year, you have Liverpool, who are doing absolutely abysmal, and Arsenal, who are just continuously seem to be getting better and better and better and better. So that being said, I think there'll be a lot of goals in this game. I think that Liverpool will struggle to break down the Arsenal defence in parts, especially set pieces. I think set pieces with Arsenal are just kind of, like go with butter and bread. They go hand in hand really. So I think Arsenal will have enough to deal with Liverpool's attack. That being said, I am actually going to go for a high scoring game, and I'm going to go with an Arsenal 3, Liverpool 2. That might be just because I would love to see an entertaining game, because my own team with Spurs, they'll be an abysmal game. So why not? Why not see our rivals against Liverpool have an entertaining game? But yeah, I just realised that I'm back in Arsenal to win. But look, they will. I'm fully confident that Arsenal will win against Liverpool 3-2. So yeah, that's it. Those are my predictions. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. If you like the video, please hit that thumbs up button. As again, I said at the start. Um, Thanks so much for all the views of the channel and of the videos, as well as the subscribers. It's really appreciative. And thanks, yeah. So thanks so much. I hope to like the new layout of this as well. I managed to get it sorted somewhat at least, anyways. Still not Sky Sports, but we're getting there. We are getting there. But yeah, if you like the video, thumbs up, please. That would be very much appreciated. And yeah, thanks very much for watching, and see ya.